Okay, guys, let's review another draft. This is one I'm pumped to review here. This one's been featured a number of times in our just going through the draft ones where we look at 4 different draft picks that I got to make. This is my team that is two big stacks. We have our Chicago stack, and we have our, let's go back to this one. No, let's stay here actually. We got our Chicago stack. We're going this one. We're going back and forth. Who knows? Okay, we got a Chicago stack, and that is Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, Caleb Williams, Cole Kmet, and Roshan Johnson. And we have our Indiana stack as well, or Indianapolis stack as well. We got Anthony Richardson, we got Mitchell Downs, and Jelani Woods over here also. If you recall, this is the one where I had a very specific strategy to pass on some tight ends because I drafted Anthony Richardson and I wanted to have a reason to take Jelani Woods here. And I've been looking at this one a little bit as it's done, preparation for this video, and I'm digging it. I am digging it. Here is kind of just the breakdown highlighted for what position they are as well. I've been trying to make sense of everything and see what I like the most. What I can see right here that I did differently on this one, and it's obvious as we go through it, but most of these drafts, I have a high-end tight end or a semi-high-end tight end, debatable what you want to call it. But this one here, I waited until the 11th round to grab Cole Kmet. And we'll look at the draft in detail, but I waited to get Cole Kmet here. And that allowed me to build out running backs a little bit, wide receivers a lot of bit, and then QB a good amount too, with 2, potential high-end QBs, depending how they go. One that had the most points per game, but didn't only play like 3 or 4 games, if that. And then a number 1 rookie, see what happens there. Doing this and then waiting on tight end let me build out the rest of the team. And I think for these sit and goes, where it's not about high end upside in the last couple of weeks, and it's more about getting points and accumulating them over all the weeks, this might be the strategy. Don't rely on your one hit or miss tight end, which if you get them, good. But these tight ends have a ability to potentially drive you to victory or try to help pummel you to defeat. And if we avoid this potential boom or bust, especially if we're overpaying for it, does having 4 different running backs help us, or not running backs, sorry, 4 different tight ends, or 3. I just took this one at the end because I could. Does this help us get where we want to go? I had the 7th pick in this draft, by the way. Let's look into the draft. So here it is right here, 7th pick. No, not 7th pick in the draft. I got to change that. I had the 10th pick in the draft here. And I took Gibbs to start. He was the highest ADP at this point in time. I think he's dropped a little bit, and so I probably wouldn't take him here in the future. That being said, this is full PPR. I don't think there's anything wrong with taking Gibbs here if you want to take him here. If you told me, there's no way I'm taking a running back in the first round here if it's not one of the top end guys, I don't think you're wrong there as well. So you do you. I'm just kind of following ADP, and I don't have much Gibbs anyways, so this gives me a little bit of Gibbs, which is good. After that, then I started my, typical thing here that I get unless something falls, and I started hammering some wide receivers. And my favorite pick on this team is definitely, I like taking Richardson in the 5th round. I think he's a fun QB. He's got, loads of upside to maybe be the number 1 QB potentially. And if I can get him like in the back half of the 5th round, I think it is an awesome pick compared to anything else you can grab here. Like, look what else is grabbed around him. There's other players I like here. We got some wide receivers that are potentially intriguing. We got some kind of boring, but maybe capable running backs. And then we do have a number of tight ends that are considered, top end tight ends or just below the top end tight end section here as well. So there's a lot going on that you can pick from. I think so far I'm a fan of the Richardson pick here. And as this draft went out, I feel like I might want to take Richardson earlier in the fifth if there isn't an ideal target. And maybe I'll explain why as well. My favorite pick, Richardson, easily. Now the plan once I grabbed Richardson was to not take a tight end early because I wanted to pair Richardson up with Jelani Woods. He's like one of those hyper elite athletic guys, but maybe not the right ideal size for what you need for that run blocking, all around purpose tight end, from what I understand. And he had some really good weeks at the end of the year, not last year, but 2 years ago, I believe it was, before he got hurt. Didn't play at all last year because he was recovering. It was kind of crazy. And I hope that if he does do something this year, that he's on some of my teams. And what better time to have him on some of your teams than when you have Anthony Richardson on your team, right? Now, he actually was going further down here, like last round, second last round, or not getting drafted at all, but he's bumped up. I'm gonna take the credit for him going up. Actually, probably not at all, right? Like, not at all, obviously, but he's bumping up, which I was disappointed when I saw that his ADP was rising. I liked the idea of grabbing with my last pick or second to last pick, and then being able to build out more here. But either way, it worked out well the way that we did it. Okay, so the plan again was when you take Richardson here, we're not going to take a tight end until late. We're going to go 3 tight ends. In this case, we went 4 tight ends. Because of that, I could have taken Kittle right here, and oftentimes I would take Kittle right here, and it would make sense to pair up with Samuel, and then a lot of times you can get Purdy on the way around. Now, I probably would have taken Purdy like right here, or maybe evaluate it and then take Purdy right here. And that would have been nice as well. Maybe I do that in the future, right? Who knows? But then it kind of ruins my plan because then I don't like to pair up Richardson with Woods as much potentially because I have a stud tight end. Do I still want to go 3 tight ends? It kind of limits my flexibility there a little bit as far as that goes. So I took Allen right here, and then I passed on the tight ends, let them keep on falling. I'm okay with it. I like it this way. I love this team, so I'm glad I did it this way. On the way back around, Odunze here, I noticed there was a chance to, because of where people fall in the draft, there's a chance that if I locked up some of these Bears, that I gave myself a chance at grabbing Williams here in the 9th round. And so that's why I kind of reached just a little bit on Odunze, knowing that. We've learned in a couple other drafts that in this round here, that when I went and took one of these other receivers, which I've done, it in the moment felt good. But then when we looked at the entire build, we're kind of like, oh gosh, the running backs look a little weak if I don't address them like hardcore. And knowing that because of this Odunze pick here, we wanted Williams. We knew that if we go another wide receiver here, first it builds out my wide receivers a ton. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That would give us 7 wide receivers through 8 rounds, which would be crazy. Or it's not 7 wide receivers, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wide receivers through 8 rounds, which would be kind of crazy. Not bad. It's viable, but we also know that I'm not taking a running back here because I'm hoping that Williams falls right here, which means that I'm not taking my second running back till all the way down here at Benson, who I really need to build out my running backs and hope for the best. I think Warren brings a lot more consistency to a group that I'm kind of, the position I'm fading, other than tight end, which I'm also kind of fading here. So I like the Warren pick here. We've learned from the past to do something like this, and also trying to think forward as far as how this draft is going to look and what we're going to be targeting if it gets to us. What's the ideal thing? So you took Warren here. You could take anyone you want for the most part. I took Warren. I like it. Um, Caleb Williams fell to us, which was nice because again, we were kind of planning on if that happened that we'd have a fun team here. I do like that we take two QBs, and hopefully they're both starting the year. Ideally, Williams does a little something something. If that's the case, we don't need more than two. You could also argue grabbing a third one at some point in time if one falls to you. Maybe we can look and see if there's a place that I could have done that in these drafts, just again to increase our floor. But I do like our ceiling and, fight the floor with the ceiling, I guess, in this case here. On the way back around, I've taken Benson a lot in these drafts, as we noted recently. If we go to these, where's Benson at? Right here. I've taken him 3 drafts in a row that you guys have looked at for my rate draft. So if you don't like Benson, then you might not like any of these teams. I don't love him. Don't hate him. High upside pick. I think he pairs well when I have the other running backs that I do. And depending on the team, maybe you take Spears instead or Singletary instead or Gus Edwards instead, I guess. I don't know. But, I got Benson. Feel good about it, I think, overall with this build on this team. Do I have and then I have Marvin Harrison Jr., so that kind of makes even more sense why I did it a little bit. Would have been nice if I could get Kyler Murray right here instead of, but, if he falls, that's interesting. Do I take Kyler Murray instead? I probably do because there's no guarantee that I eventually get Caleb Williams. So I'd probably take Kyler Murray right here. And then I have Richardson and Murray, which would be also fun. I dig that one also. I'll take it. As we go through this one a little further, I was kind of timing this out again in that I wanted to take him here. And I think did Goddard fall on? Yeah, Goddard fell. I could have taken Goddard, but again, my plan here is to have a lot of tight ends. I don't really care about how good they are, and also know that there's a chance based on other drafts, while Cole Kmet's ADP is more around here, it's not all the way down here. I have seen him drop for like back here often. I kind of have more of them than I want to probably because he's fallen far and I don't have a tight end or don't have a viable second tight end. And like, okay, I'll take him and just figure out the rest of the draft. So took him. And then again, I knew I didn't know this, but I knew because of the Anthony Richardson pick that the next best chance to pair him up with someone was a wide receiver. And I didn't expect to get both of them. I did expect to get one of them right here. And they were both in play actually for me. Like, I don't really care which one I took here. Mitchell had the better ADP and maybe a little more fun pick considering he's the deep threat. Are there weeks or does something happen where Richardson's arm and legs open up the field for some massive routes for Mitchell? So I think it's fun to pair those two together. And maybe it's something like Keenan Allen, Stephon Diggs, or something like that from a couple of years ago, or Hurts and Brown. Who knows? Those would be fun if it happens here with this team. Didn't expect Downs to come around. He did. This pick, if he's not available, I'm probably taking. I'm guaranteed to be taking Vidal here. So this one I kind of hemmed and hawed at a little bit because I think Downs is the more fun pick considering I got the QB, right? So I got the stack. Vidal's probably the smarter pick a little bit, but I mean, I'm okay at running back. And on the way back around, I'll hit running backs hard. I got right here. I like Lloyd more than right, but whatever. I like what he did here, to tell you the truth, with this one. We'll look at the rest of the team. I don't know about that, but I like this. This is fun. Right. And then Davis fell a little bit, I believe, and I was able to say, okay, fine, I'll take another running back right here. And then Roschon Johnson. I took him a little early, but I didn't think he'd get back to me late. He goes around at the same time Herbert does. Herbert went here. And even like Bigsby here and stuff like that. So there was a good amount of running backs being taken here, which means if I don't take Johnson here, I'm probably not getting them. And I think this Johnson pick is a good pick right here. And I don't know what else I take instead. Like, do I take Isaiah Likely or Johnson or Jonnu? You could maybe say Jonnu Smith, but I figured that if I miss out on him, I won't be happy and I won't be like, yay, at least I got Jonnu Smith or Isaiah Likely instead of Chig. So we go Johnson here, and that gives me all the layers on kind of on the Bears team minus their big deeper three, their big player and DJ Moore. I got their tight end. I got two of their receivers. One that's ideally me playing, the shorter mid range, and then slant routes and things like that. And then I got comebacks, that kind of, I got one that might be playing short, mid, and deep. And then I got their tight end also. So hopefully every week one of the Bears is doing something, right? Is what you're hoping maybe. And maybe one of the Colts is doing something. And then I have all these guys up here that are ideally like kind of carrying the water on a daily basis when it comes to, or weekly basis. And then I got maybe one of these guys that's kind of filling in either in the flex or taking the place when they have a bad week or something like that. So I do like how this is all playing out. At this point in time, I got my one, and I do like Komet as like the anchor tight end of this build. And I've done that also with Goddard. And I don't know if we looked at that team yet or not. We'll have to see. But Goddard, I like him as an anchor one as well. Maybe if we're going to do something like this, and I think I'll do it more if I ever get Hurts again, try to do a Goddard, or if I get Caleb Williams again. Not Caleb Williams again. If I get Anthony Richardson again, do I find a way to do something similar so I can get that Jelani Woods pick at the end? Hit on my tight ends kind of hard here. I only had one at this point in time, so I knew I needed another one. I think Chig here makes a lot of sense. You could say Gesicki or Fant or whoever you like. I think they're all similar, but I took Chig right here, and the reason being is because I was actually thinking 4 tight ends the whole time. I'm pretty sure I'd made the decision that Fant had a better chance of making it all the way back around to me. I don't know if I've seen that as much recently, but I saw that in some earlier drafts. So I was like, okay, if I take Chig here, I take Woods here because I definitely want him for my team. And it's a little bit of a reach, but again, I'd be kicking myself if I didn't get him. I'm not kicking myself if I didn't get Fant. So I'll get Woods here, and then I'm hoping Fant comes all the way around. And then this last pick's whatever I want it to be. Instead, Fant didn't make it around. I just picked a player that I hadn't drafted. There was no really correlation thing. I did have another Miami Dolphin here, and Odell Beckham had dropped well past ADP. And looking at my team construction, I don't think I needed a 7th running back right there. So I went with the wide receiver, which, it was what it was. Maybe this could have been a pick where I take a QB if there's a QB available. Looks like there's not. Looks like they're all picked over, right? We got like Sam Darnold here going. If Bo Nix falls to right here, I maybe just take Bo Nix because, or if Drake May falls to here, I take Drake May just because. I think that's okay also. 7 wide receivers on this team, I think is good considering I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pretty good ones with some high upside plays and hopefully some consistent plays here. That being said, I do think the 8th wide receiver of the team is nice considering I got a rookie, new team. Who knows what the heck's going on with him as far as teams go. New team again, rookie, playing with a QB that he didn't really come on last season until after that QB left. So there's a lot of, if you wanted me to trash the team, that's how I trash the team, right? And so the I'm talking myself into keeping this a two wide receiver, 2 QB build. Grab another wide receiver. There's no one fantastic here. Hopefully Odell Beckham, who's on the second half of his career, and signing with a team hopefully to win, and ideally he knows he has a role. I don't know what that role is going to be, but hopefully he maybe helps again with my team and a little bit of correlation with their running back they drafted, which again we don't know what his role is going to be. Can he be like HN in a way, HN light, where he maybe doesn't get a lot of PT, but when he does, he ends up hitting that 180-yarder for a touchdown because of how they design their running plays, which are pretty unique and effective. And then at the end of the season, at the end of the draft, Kraft has fallen here. He's got the injury. They're saying he's going to be back, I think, even for before the season starts. And it's, another one of those plays where he was coming on at the end of the season when Musgrave was out. Does that mean he gets more run this year? Hopefully it does. And I just want him to help raise the floor. I don't care about the ceiling of my tight ends. I just want him to raise the floor. Where's that week where all three of my other tight ends do nothing but Kraft catches, 2 passes and a touchdown, or 4 catches for 60 yards while the rest of them didn't catch anything at all, right? Like raise the floor is all we want from Kraft. And I think he can do that, assuming he comes back and actually gets some play. So really pumped about this team. I told you my favorite pick. I had a lot to say on this one, actually. My least favorite pick, if I had to pick one, might be like taking Downs right here. But as we're talking through, I think it's the right pick now, actually. So it's not, I don't have a bad pick in this one. I don't think. I think I like it all the way through. But if I had to maybe pick one, do I get Vidal right here and then end up with, Wicks or someone like that right here? But this correlates more. So I'm not going to give myself a hard time. And I don't even think that's a better idea per se at all. So I like it. Especially if there's like a tournament, but it's not. It's a sit and go, but I still like it. It's fun. Let's compare ourselves to a team that kind of did a similar build. Not many teams do 4 tight ends. This team actually has a 4 wide receiver or 4 QBs, 4 QBs, 3 tight ends. So no one's got similar. What do we got? 6 and 8. Has anyone got? Okay, 3, 3, 6, 8. We can use this one as our common ground because those 6 and 8, and we got the same number of QB tight end totals, just that it's split up differently. He went, running back here, which is fine. Henry gets drafted a lot right here. I'm not doing a lot of running back, but again, I'm not going to really judge people on that because I don't think we can. At least I can't predict that. But let's see how we like the 2 builds and how they came out. Both of us kind of hit on some wide receivers. We both ended up with 8 wide receivers and 6 running backs. And with him having the 2 running backs at top, I'm instantly thinking like, should he only have 5 running backs instead of 6? And should he have maybe like 1 more wide receiver potentially or something? But this could be the same depending on how he went later on. This could still be good or ideal. So I do see he took James Conner here. So he's got 3 running backs with lots of invested capital in the time that I took 2 because I only got Gibbs at the front and Warren right here. Again, I'm now thinking that I might be right that this 6 is potentially getting kind of high as far as number goes. He also didn't invest in wide receiver at all after these 3, at least not right away, because he went tight end, QB, another running back, and then another wide receiver, which is nice. But then he went another running back, tight end, QB. So he really unemphasized wide receiver after the first 3. This is what I was doing a lot last year. And I think it's what kind of killed me. So this is a team that I would have last year. I don't think I'd have this team this year for the most part. I mean, there's always a chance, but I don't think I would have because I have 1, 2, 3, 4 wide receivers through 10. And then I don't invest in my next one until 13 with Leggett, Douglas, and then more and more at the end here. So this looks like what I would do, where I try to like make up for it at the end here with some players that, why am I counting these as players to make it up? They're just players at the end of my bench, I think, for the most part. I can't be relying on those players when other people have, much more intriguing firepower at the end of their wide receiver crew with just better wide receivers overall. So with his team, I do like where he got a number of his players, but I'm not digging the 2 running backs here. I think that you could argue that either one of them, I don't really care which one you pick one of them to not draft. If you're sticking with these 2 here, don't draft something in here. It's probably the running back, right? Because of the 2 other running backs. Let's say we get rid of Connor and you replace Connor with Coleman or Watson, Addison, McConkey, Hopkins. I think those are all totally fine plays, depending on, pick your poison type of thing. And then you end up with, so it would be an interesting one with this team is because you got Kirk. If you wanted to get, cute with it, you pull up, Brian Thomas Jr., which is early. So I don't know if I would really do it. It probably is a stupid play, but it's a fun play. You take Brian Thomas here, and then you wouldn't end up with Lawrence anyways. So you'd be kicking yourself if you did it. But anyways, you get the point. I'd be taking another wide receiver right here. And that would help me feel better about my wide receiver crew. And then that would give me Spears as my third running back. And then do what you want to do here. Keep these two, replace one of these and put a sixth running back if you really want to. But a sixth running back if you want to, but change this one out. Don't take Connor, I don't think. Or you don't take Spears. You instead take Curtis Samuel or Brandon Cooks if you really, really want to, I guess. But I'm replacing the Connor pick all day long on this one, I'm pretty sure, is what I'm doing. I don't care which one you do, but I'm probably replacing the Connor pick, I think. I'd have to look at ADP, but in general, unless it's like a super hardcore value, I'm not doing this one right here. I do see why he did it though, as I'm looking at it, right? Like he has the Murray pick. Connors is usually catching a good amount of passes. So he's getting some correlation there with that. So I see why he did it, I guess, as far as that goes. I don't think I do that though. Or if I do that, I'm definitely not taking Spears, right? So you choose you, but that's where this team gets better. And then I like my team more. Again, I think that's the reason why is I'm gonna have a little more consistency if my players do what they want. I mean, I got high upside, right? Because I'm not focused on two teams mainly, but hopefully if one of those teams is hitting often, I got some consistency to go with it because of all my wide receivers that I drafted. One other thing I want to look at really quick would be, we've already went long on this one, so we'll end it here, but, really quick, I got one, this is something that I've found intriguing to look at. Running back wise, I have 3 running backs in this window here. The middle third running back window is what we called it. Look at this team right here, actually next to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4. And I liked what he did. That's probably why I liked what he did here too, right? It's in that 1, 2. No, it is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's Chubb there too. So he's got a lot right here. He's got 7 running backs, 4 QBs, 3 wide receivers. He went hardcore on the QBs and tight ends. I've done that, and when things just didn't go right. He's got Jackson, so I don't know why he's got 4 QBs. So I like this. This I feel like should be a sign that you got something good going on when you got all the running backs here in the middle, but definitely not for this guy because he's got only 1, 2, 3 wide receivers through 10. And one of those wide receivers is probably going to be suspended for the first couple of games, if not half the season or something like that. Does he have a team that falls so far behind at the beginning that he just can't catch up? I wouldn't. I think that's what happens here. What does he need to do? He needs to not take Evan Ingram on this team and take, Keenan Allen, who's my guy, or McLaurin or something like that. I wouldn't like that because then I got to go further down and take like McLaurin here instead, or someone else like Deontay Johnson, someone like that. That makes it. But then, for me, it wouldn't be bad because then I just replace Williams with Jaden Daniels if I do that. And then I replace Mitchell and Downs with like Dotson or Luke McCaffrey. So I'd be okay either way if he did that with it. Okay, that's the draft. Let me know what you think. See you on the next one. Peace.